So early in the week, a money manager who has $240 billion of assets under management came out and announced that he believes that Bitcoin will hit $150,000 in the summer of 2025. And yes, that's big, but today I'm going to show you why he is only one of 5 different billionaires who have come out and made enormously bullish Bitcoin price predictions or bets in early 2023. And I'm also going to show you guys why I believe the past 6 months of 2023 is exactly repeating what happened in 2020 when Bitcoin was quietly crabbing around between $6,000 and $10,000 before going absolutely parabolic. So let's get straight into this one. So the first billionaire Bitcoin price prediction for 2024 comes with a cool little chart. And Dan Morehead from Pantera Capital actually believes we have entered Bitcoin's 7th Bitcoin bull market. And he thinks the Bitcoin's going to hit $147,843 after the Bitcoin halving. Awfully specific, I know, but Pantera Capital is a $255 billion hedge fund. So many people are listening to the words of this man. And we can see here from this really cool little chart, Pantera Capital believes that there are 2 stages in a bull market. So in the first stage of this Bitcoin bull market that Dan Morehead believes we have entered, he expects Bitcoin to slowly and quietly creep its way up to $36,500 by the time of the Bitcoin halving. So that is around a 2.3x from here. And then we get into that exponential phase of the Bitcoin bull market. And he believes Bitcoin can slap on an extra 4.2x from that 35,000, taking it to around $148,843 to be specific, in the words of Dan Morehead. But he's not the only billionaire predicting a mid $100,000 Bitcoin in 2025. Earlier in the year, we covered the multi-billion-dollar bank Standard Chartered, who came out and was actually one of the first billionaire banks to predict that they believe Bitcoin to hit $100,000 in 2024. And they recently upped their Bitcoin price prediction, announcing they think Bitcoin can hit $120,000 by the end of 2024. Now, the third Bitcoin price prediction that I want to cover today is not quite as bullish as the 5th prediction we're going to look at today, where a billionaire predicted a $4 million Bitcoin, but this one actually takes the shape of a bet. So most people would be familiar with Adam Back, the only man to be personally referenced in the Bitcoin white paper. He actually created Hashcash a few years before Bitcoin, and he actually recently came out and he had these comments to make in a recent interview.
Well, I think it's possible that we get to, a new all-time high, like 100,000 or more, even before the halving.
And what's very interesting is Adam Back is even putting his own money on the line. He is betting an anonymous Bitcoin Twitter user that Bitcoin will hit $100,000 in April 2024 before the Bitcoin halving, because he believes that the miners need a Bitcoin price that high. So again, that's interesting. That's all cool, but I want to finally hit on the last lower Bitcoin price prediction before getting into the really bullish stuff, and that actually comes from Dan Tapiero. So Dan Tapiero is a hedge fund that kind of manages a few different shitcoins alongside Bitcoin. His hedge fund name is 10T, and he also believes Bitcoin's going to hit $100,000 after the 2024 Bitcoin halving. But now this gets us into the really bullish stuff. Actually, before we get to that final 7-figure Bitcoin prediction, I want to quickly show you guys why I believe that 2023 is actually shaping up to be the new 2020. So let me kind of explain my thoughts. In 2020, Bitcoin had just had a Bitcoin halving, and we had the billionaires slowly and quietly begin to come out of the woodwork. So if we do rewind in time, let's remember what happened. We had Michael Saylor. I believe he came out in August or September and became the first public company CEO to actually put Bitcoin on his balance sheet. And I'll remind you guys, he didn't just put Bitcoin on his balance sheet. He stuck his entire $425 million into Bitcoin from his public company's treasury. But it wasn't only Michael Saylor who joined the growing chorus of billionaires who came out making very bullish Bitcoin proclamations back in 2020. Let's remember the words from the world's most successful hedge fund manager, Paul Tudor Jones, who had these comments to say in Q3 2020.
Welcome back to Fast Money. One of Wall Street's most successful hedge fund managers sending a giant shockwave across the cryptocurrency market today. Paul Tudor Jones reportedly buying Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation. Jones comparing the cryptocurrency to the gold trade back in the 1970s, calling it the fastest horse in this environment. Let's break this bombshell down with.
That's right. He called Bitcoin the fastest horse in the great monetary inflation. And we also had other names such as Stanley Druckenmiller. And we obviously had Bill Miller, who is a successful billionaire bond trader. They were all coming out and saying, look, we are bullish on Bitcoin. And again, I'd like to remind you guys, let's look at the price of Bitcoin during this time. We can see all throughout 2020, Bitcoin had that violent flash crash to $3,000, and most people thought it was dead, okay? Even in September, October 2020, Bitcoin had still not taken out its previous 2017 all-time high. But we had all of the smart money slowly accumulating coins and beginning to position themselves for the next Bitcoin halving event. Okay, we all know what happens every 4 years when the amount of supply coming onto the Bitcoin network gets cut in half. It's very natural. If you have the same amount of people buying and transacting Bitcoin, guess where the price has to go? Up. Simple supply and demand dynamics. And I think the same thing is happening today. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin halving is around 215 days away, okay? It's only 6 to 9 months away, and we have the billionaires slowly but surely positioning themselves and beginning to pump their bags in the public arena, okay? And we haven't even talked about BlackRock or all of the billion-dollar banks coming out and actually applying for these Bitcoin ETFs. We've only really talked about the individuals in today's podcast, but we haven't talked about the most bullish Bitcoin price prediction that has happened in the past 6 to 12 months. Now, I've saved the best to last because today's 7-figure Bitcoin prediction actually comes from the most successful technology entrepreneur in history, okay? His name is Peter Thiel. He co-founded PayPal in the late 1990s, over 20 years ago, where he envisioned the world would actually need a decentralized digital currency payment system, and he thought PayPal was that. But after PayPal inevitably kind of struggled to get off the ground, Peter Thiel also invested or co-founded other very successful companies like Facebook, Airbnb, and SpaceX. And he recently had some enormous predictions for Bitcoin in a 2022 speech where he believed that Bitcoin could 100x all the way up to $4 million per coin if 3 certain hurdles were crossed that were standing in Bitcoin's path. And what if I told you that 2 out of those 3 hurdles blocking Bitcoin's path to $4 million have actually been removed and Bitcoin has defeated in the past 6 months? Well, that's exactly what's happened. And if you want to learn a little bit more about Peter Thiel's $4 million Bitcoin prediction, you can check out the video that we recorded in detail on this topic just yesterday. You can find a link to that video right there. And for those of you guys that are still watching, I'm going to give you guys one hint about those 3 Bitcoin hurdles standing in Bitcoin's way. And one of those has to do with BlackRock. So if you want to bring yourself up to speed on what I believe is BlackRock's secret attack on Bitcoin, you can check out the link to that video right there. And with all that said, hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you didn't, let me know in the comments down below. And either way, I hope you watch either one of the 2 videos I've slapped up on screen right now. And I will see you all in the next one.